Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Jonathan. We look forward to having you participate in today's Bar Talk. So it is April 28th, I think our 21st edition of Bar Talk, and I trust everyone's doing well. There's lots of changes going on around the country as far as reintegration. I understand that our governor has already alluded to some of the changes that she's going to be looking at making to her executive order, which expires, her stay in place essential worker order expiring on April 30th. And that's just in 2 more days. She's going to make some comments on, I assume, imminently. But other than that, no changes on the judicial branch front that we know of. And is Julie tuned in with us from the communications branch of the judicial branch? No? Okay. No changes on the executive order front either that we know of from the changes we mentioned yesterday. Okay. With that, we do have our guest speaker, Bill Nugent, who is with the Maine Assistance Program. And my understanding, Bill, is that you're going to address wellness and the Wellness Pledge.
I am.
That's excellent. You'll see that that was an important component of what we had hoped the MSBA would focus on this year, too. Thank you, Bill. With that, floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. I want to talk about the ABA Wellbeing Pledge Commitment Form, which has been drafted by the American Bar Association concerning the issue of well-being, which over the past several years, as everyone knows, has become front and center as a topic in legal organizations, largely because of 2 surveys that were undertaken a few years ago of law students and members of the legal profession, showing that they have serious issues with regard to mental health problems and substance use disorders. And it's become a priority for the American Bar Association, and also a priority for the Maine State Bar Association. I think the association deserves a great deal of credit. Angela and Heather and the other staff members there, and you, Thad, personally, for your emphasis on well-being during your tenure as president here. Well-being is something nobody can disagree with. It's like mom and apple pie. Nobody's going to say they're against well-being, but the issue is making well-being actually something other than just a talking point, something that is given more than just lip service. And the ABA Wellbeing Pledge is part of that program. It's available, anybody who wants to look at it, on the ABA website, which is americanbar.org. But I'd just like to touch, it's a 7-point program. It's offered to legal organizations, to law firms, to bar associations, to judiciary, to legal sections of corporate or government. And the pledge is not just for the leaders of these organizations to take. It's for everybody, every attorney who's involved, to help emphasize that it's important for all of us to really move forward and walk the walk, and that's not just talk the talk about well-being. But the preambles reads, recognizing that substance use and mental health problems represent significant challenges for the legal profession, and acknowledging that more can and should be done to improve the health and well-being of members of our legal community, we, the attorneys, whoever the signatories, reaffirm our support for the ABA's well-being campaign and its mission to better support the vital role that lawyers play in the proper functioning of society, the economy, and government, and will work to adopt and prioritize the Wellbeing Pledge 7-point framework for building a better future. And the 7 points include, the first one is, we've provided enhanced and robust educational opportunities to our attorneys and staff on topics related to well-being, mental health, and substance use. And then they ask for examples of what they've done. But clearly, keeping well-being in the forefront of everyone's consciousness is extremely important if we're to continue going toward this goal of lowering the problems that we find in the legal profession with regard to mental health and substance use disorders. Number two is we have challenged the status quo of drinking by de-emphasizing the expectation of alcohol at events. And I think the MSBA in particular deserves a great deal of credit for this. For those that attended the winter bar meeting, you will have noticed that during the reception there were two separate bars, one for people who wanted to get alcoholic drinks and a completely separate bar for those who wanted non-alcoholic drinks. And in addition to this being a statement about the MSBA's dedication to this issue, it also has a real practical and important value. Someone who's new to sobriety and is standing in line at a bar to get a non-alcoholic drink, but being faced when they get to the bar of all of these bottles of alcohol, it's an unnecessary temptation and can be difficult for someone. So to have a totally separate bar, I think is really important, and great credit to the MSBA for doing that. And I hope it continues. I'm confident it probably will. Number three is we've developed visible partnerships with outside entities committed to reducing substance use and mental distress in the profession. Now, these can be partnerships with MAP, for example, or with the Board of Overseers. Both ARIA at the board and I have done many programs together and separately on the issue of wellness, and we've addressed many law firms. But there are many other resources that are available for law firms and legal organizations to contact and partner with regard to health and well-being of the legal profession. Number four says, we have provided confidential access to substance use and mental health experts and resources to all employees, including staff, in-house and in-house assessment tools. This is very important. Confidentiality is absolutely essential. If you don't have confidentiality, people are not going to seek help for mental health problems or substance use problems. And there are many screening tests, self-screening tests that are available. The audit test, which was developed by the World Health Organization, the alcohol use disorder identification test, is an excellent screening test that's been used for many years to determine, for people to self-assess and determine whether or not they may have an alcohol use issue that needs further assistance. There are many other resources that can be used, but the confidentiality and emphasizing that anything someone goes to in leadership in an organization will be held confidential is absolutely essential. Five, we have a proactive written protocol and leave policy that covers the assessment and treatment of substance and use and mental health problems, including a defined back to work policy for after following treatment. This is very important to actually have a written policy that's available to people. Again, it demonstrates to people in the organization that the leadership really has a commitment to helping people who have issues with mental health or substance use, and gives them essentially the permission and the encouragement to come forward if they have a problem. Number six, the provision is we have actively and consistently promoted and encouraged help seeking and self-care as core values of our organization. I think that's absolutely essential. Again, people don't believe an organization's really favoring or concerned with well-being unless it's really emphasized and it's made a core element, an important aspect of the organization. It's absolutely necessary for staff and for members of the organization to really understand that it is important and we really mean what we say in that. And number seven, the last one, is related to number six, and says we have highlighted the adoption of this well-being framework to attract and retain the best lawyers and staff. Again, up front, it's really important to be able to tell applicants that in addition to the work that you have to do, we care about you, And we're really concerned and will provide support for issues that may arise while you're employed here. I think it's really important. I would urge anyone to go onto the website to take a look at this closely. And if you're part of a law firm or a legal organization, take a look at it and seriously consider having this pledge distributed among your members. I think it's very important. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bill. I appreciate you following up with that. We also have more information about those pledges in the Winter Bar Journal publication too. So I really appreciate that, Bill. Now, Jonathan, we're going to segue into what he's going to talk about. He's going to talk about one of the components of wellness, and that is what he's been involved with at his firm as far as exercise goes. Jonathan?
Thank you, Thad. I'm the chair of the wellness committee at Veril, and a couple weeks ago realized that the only exercise I was getting staying at home was making a path to the refrigerator or the pantry every day. And I figured perhaps that was what everyone else was doing. So I got the committee together and we were trying to figure out what to do. And I do the trek across Maine and cycle the seacoast every year. And both of those were virtual. So I said, well, we could do something virtually. But it seems unfair to compare, say, runners against cyclists because I can ride 25 miles at a clip, but not many people run a marathon every day. So we decided to do it by minutes. And then we decided we'd open it to any type of wellness, exercise, working out, riding your bike, meditation, mindfulness, anything, yoga, anything you want to do for wellness or exercise, and keep track of your minutes. So we emailed everyone, and I figured we'd get 20 or 30 people. We ended up getting 60. So we have 12 teams of 5 people each, and this past week was the first week that we did it. Those 60 people did a total of 25,921 minutes of exercise for an average of 432 minutes a person. And I'm told, I didn't see the sheets that people filled out, but apparently everything from cycling and yoga to raking, sanding, painting, digging up tree stumps, playing with toddlers, anything counts. But we got a really good response, and people seem to really be enjoying it. The top team of 5 has 2,900 minutes. I see my colleague Jim Cohen is here. His team is named My Corona, and they're in second place with 2,600 minutes. Unfortunately, my team 0, is second to last with 1,700 minutes. But we just thought this would be a fun way to get people out exercising. People are sending me photos for us to use on social media or on our, share within the firm. And everybody seems to be having a good time and doing a little more exercise than just going to the refrigerator. Thanks,
Ed. Thanks, Jonathan. I appreciate the summary of what you guys have done. That's a pretty neat program to put together. Hey, I wanted to pass it on because we are running out of time. Angela, did you have some business side updates?
I do have a couple of things real quick. You can see the list of guests we have coming up the rest of this week, and 2 other quick items. First is that the Bar Association, provided the governor maintains the current stay-at-home order and it comes up, at near the end of this week, the Bar Association office will start implementing an open office. It's going to be staged, steps, and we'll start that next week with some people in the office, some people not. If anybody is interested in hearing what I'm thinking about, be happy to share that information with you. And the other thing, just a good laugh that I got this morning. Want to share it. I got an email from a member, Barry Kohler, who said that he'd gone onto our homepage and was looking at the Bar Talk daily Zoom updates with President Day and ED Armstrong, which ED is executive director. But he got to wondering who this Ed Armstrong was. And he went on and he looked at the list of members and the board of governors and the staff, and he really had a hard time. And then it finally occurred to him that I was Ed Armstrong. So just a funny story. It made me laugh. Thanks, Barry. I appreciate it. I hope everybody has a great day.
Thank you, Angela. And while Jim's here, I think I'll put you on the spot, Jim. Are there any murmurings on the street or something that we should be knowing about?
Well, every day there's always something that could be happening. I think the big news is that at 2 this afternoon, the governor is giving a press conference. And during that press conference, she's going to talk about what the plans are for reopening. Last week, she announced a broad set of criteria for what would be considered when reopening, but there were not any specifics provided. So the possibility is that we'll hear some additional specifics. Also, the current stay-at-home order, I believe, is expiring very shortly. So we're all waiting to see what's next.
On the 30th, right? Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Jim. And as far as personal side things, I just wanted to journal a big shout out and thank you to all our fellow bar members. The attorneys I've been working with have been very understanding of the constraints we're all under, and you know, I appreciate it. Appreciate everything that they're doing too. And we have, well, we're out of time. If anyone has any questions to share with us or news to share with us, please float it via email so we can share it with the rest of our members. And thank you everyone for tuning in. Thanks, Angela.
Thanks.
And thanks, Jim. And thanks.